everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Kavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel, as you can see, I'm trying out something a little new here with the microphone. This is a new wireless microphone that I'm testing out here, and I hope you guys enjoy this new little item that's an addition to the channel here. This is one of these things I've been wanting for a while. I usually have something that's like clipped onto my shirt. I just don't really like the look of that, so I'm going with something a little bit different here. And from what I could test so far, this thing really does a good job of capturing my voice well. And I kind of like the look of it. I get to live out my game show host fantasies here, so um, I hope you enjoy it. Today on the channel, we're going to be reviewing a movie that was sent to me from a fantastic longtime viewer, and it's not the first time he's done this. This gentleman, his name is Lee, sent out quite a few movies in the past. He sent me The Elephant Man on 4K Blu-ray. Basic Instinct was another one. God, I mean, this guy has sent so many. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the most recent one, the 4K version that's not available here in the States. And I'll leave, some links at the end to those other reviews. But this guy, he has an Instagram account. It's Cluzy's 4K Movie Corner. And I'll leave his little address here at the bottom. So if you want to go follow him, I really suggest you go follow him. He's over in the UK. And sometimes, as we all well know, if we're a longtime collectors of 4Ks or Blu-rays, there are movies that we just don't get here in the States. And sometimes, like The Elephant Man, Texas Chainsaw, and Basic Instinct, those were all fantastic 4Ks from various studios, and we just don't have them, or at least we don't have those versions. Texas Chainsaw is available from a different company, but it's a completely different transfer. Today, I'm reviewing the latest one that Lee has sent me, and again, thank you so much, Lee, for doing this. If you do go follow Lee, please do not haunt him for free movies and stuff. He did this out of the kindness of his heart, as he always does, and I cannot wait to return the favor for him. But this movie here was one that he posted about, and I said, wow, like, I'm actually thinking about importing this because this movie is very much, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I've always enjoyed this film. I remember seeing it when I was younger and being kind of shocked at the violence, and now I watch it and I'm like, it's actually not that bad, compared to some other movies that have come out since then. But this is, of course, Bloodsport, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Also has Donald Gibb, Forrest Whitaker, and Bolo Young as Chong Li, the big bad guy in this. And this is a 4K from is Altitude Film Distribution. So Altitude Film Distribution, they put this out, and this is a really, really nice SteelBook here. I'm going to show you the back of it here, so you can see there is the back and the front here. And if we open it up, you can see there is two discs inside. There's the 4K and the standard Blu-ray, as well as some nice aerial shots of Hong Kong from back in 1988. And I think the other thing that's really special about this is that this is not only an all-new 4K restoration, but it is also the first time this movie has ever been in Dolby Atmos surround. So this has Dolby Vision, HDR10 Plus, HDR10, and Dolby Atmos for the sound. So they really went all out on this. This was originally released from Cape Light Pictures, and this is pretty much a repackaging of this of the same release, but it's got all new special features and everything as well. And so today we're going to be reviewing the picture quality, the audio quality, and the special features as well. Now, the picture quality on Bloodsport here, to compare it to anything else, the last time I saw this movie was on Blu-ray many years ago. It's got to be at least 14, 15 years ago now, And on that disc, the picture quality was really kind of rough. It was rough and tumble. The actual film itself really kind of seemed to be in disarray. It really wasn't cleaned up very well. It was rough around the edges, and I'm talking about grain not being that great, even some damage to the picture, which is not something you see a lot on big releases, especially something that was originally released through Warner Brothers, I'm pretty sure, and now it's owned by MGM. But this movie now, they have cleaned this thing up to perfection, and there is no HDR used at all, which I think is really, really great. There is grain in the picture. It's never extremely heavy. I would say it's a very light amount of grain, and they actually opened up the picture to 1 by 78 to 1 from 1 by 85 to 1. So the picture pretty much takes up the entirety of your screen now. And to me, I really didn't see much of a difference in terms of framing or anything with this. It's almost like an open matte version, even though it's really not. I thought it looked really, really good from a just a picture quality perspective. It is a huge upgrade. Detail level is extremely strong now. I mean, this movie is definitely a bloody film. There is definitely a lot of blood and a lot of sweaty, big, large men fighting each other in this movie. But Jean-Claude Van Damme looks like he's 12 years old in this, and but he's great in it. Even though this is really one of his first like actual movies where he spoke, and his performance is extraordinarily cheesy. But what do you want from this guy? I mean, this is one of his first films that he ever did. It was really the movie that put him on the map, and I really love his expressions in this film. All the grunting and groaning and stuff that he does, and you can really make out facial details now. Skin tones in this are so much better than they were before. Very well balanced. Colors look incredible all throughout. That Dolby Vision really did a great job of enhancing the color palette all throughout. I wouldn't call it extremely vibrant, but it is very, very lifelike. It's not saturated in any way. Reds are very, very apparent now. The blood and everything that you see, it jumps out at you, but in a very natural way. I really like some films that do this where they don't go the ultra saturated route. They keep the original intention of the film intact, and I'm really glad that they did that with this. I really, really like the look of that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the black levels in this. There aren't a ton of nighttime scenes, but one scene in particular where Jean-Claude Van Damme is having dinner with the reporter lady in the film, and that is a very dimly lit scene, and it looks so much better now than it did before. The black levels are just really, really nice on this. I wouldn't say perfect, but they're pretty close. They're really, really good. Other than that, besides the picture quality, the detail level being high, the HDR really doing wonders for the actual lighting and everything. The picture quality as a whole is just fantastic on this. I mean, it is definitely the best this movie has ever looked. I have never seen this film look better than this. I was very impressed with this transfer. And even though it's a movie that is, pretty much 80s kung fu cheese, I find it to be an extremely enjoyable watch, and this new transfer really makes it like you're watching it again for the first time. I really, really enjoyed this transfer. Now, as for the sound quality with this bad boy, it has an all new Dolby Atmos track, and it also has the original stereo track in a lossless format. And I decided to give the new Dolby Atmos track a run for its money here, and I gotta say, that Atmos track is really, really well done. The music score, the synthesizers, all that, it's very much 80s, and all the ballads and 80s rock songs that accompany the soundtrack to this film, they sound so good now. The music itself really lends itself to that Dolby Atmos. It's expanded a lot more. It's very, very easy on the ears. but the sound as a whole is just so much broader in spectrum now than it was before. The sound effects are placed extremely well. One scene in particular where Jean-Claude Van Damme is running away from the police that are sent after him, the sounds in the streets of Hong Kong are so much more apparent now than they were before. They're placed perfectly. The surrounds are not used. uh, I don't want to say they're used a lot in this. Most of the audio is still in the front, three speakers, your center, your left, and right. The overheads are not really used a whole heck of a lot on this one. But the sounds of the crowd being all around you, the crunching of bones and the punches landed, and Jean Claude Van Damme's kind of groan thing, whatever that is, uh, it sounds really good. I mean, that Atmos track is fantastic, and the lossless stereo track is as good as it's ever going to get. I mean, that track is also really impressive. So if you like the original theatrical audio, that is in this set as well. So, again, no complaints with the Atmos track. I was so glad to have it, and it just makes the movie even more immersive than it was before. But really not a total overhaul, which I think is smart in this case, because if they completely redid all the sound effects and everything, sometimes you do that and the movie loses its charm, and in this case they did not, and I was very, very happy about that. That was a really good move. The other new addition to the set is a ton of new special features. There is a interview with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think it's almost 30 minutes long. That was really interesting to hear him reminisce about the making of the film and his, the impact that it had on his career as a whole. There is an entire, like, 45, 46-minute interview with Sheldon Lettich, who wrote the screenplay along with two other gentlemen, and he's talking about his book and everything. It's kind of more talking about himself than the movie, but it is a really interesting thing to see him talk about, the path of the film from the screenplay to shooting, and then his career afterwards. That was really interesting. Return to the Ring with cinematographer David Worth. Tunes to tap out to, the fighting sounds of Paul Herzog, and an audio commentary with Sheldon Lettich, Paulo Tocha, and James Bennett, and an all-new little brief introduction to the film with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That is actually pretty cool. That, again, they really went above and beyond, so hats off to Cape Light Pictures and Altitude Film Distribution for again, for making such a fantastic 4K disc. I mean, they really treated this movie with love and care. And this is really a movie that hadn't really been getting a lot of attention for a long time, mainly because it's really seen as like a cult film. It's not really a movie that, it's not one of these movies that would get this kind of treatment normally. So, big hats off to them. And I have to say, this is a fantastic 4K disc. Special features are amazing. The picture quality on it is incredible. The audio quality on it is incredible. I mean, this is like a 10 out of 10. And honestly, it's probably one of the best cult films that I've ever seen get this kind of treatment for. I mean, this is a really, really impressive release here from these guys, and I highly recommend it, even if you have to import it. If you're a fan of this film, or if you're a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan in general, this is kind of a must-buy, honestly. I wish I was kidding, but it really is a must-buy, and it's worth it. It's actually worth it. They put a lot of love and care into it, and it shows. So again, big thank you to Lee from Cluzy's 4K Movie Corner. Definitely go follow him on Instagram. He is an amazing guy, and I really value our friendship and your viewership here, and I also value all the others that have subscribed to this channel over the last few years. It's been really impressive to see this channel grow, And if you like this video, definitely make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel below so I can keep doing reviews like this. I really appreciate you guys. I love each and every one of you. Again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot to me when you hit that little subscribe button. I know it doesn't cost anything, but for me, it shows that you care, and I want to keep doing this for the future. I really enjoy this. So until next time, I want to say thank you again for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Please stay safe and take it easy.